We're Manchester Left Writers, and just in closing, we'd like to say that Northern Powerhouse, Devolution and Regeneration conversations often tell us to be realistic. But that famous Manchester DJ and musician, Mr. Scruff, has been making calls for us to keep it unrealistical for quite some time. To ask us to be realistic is a call for us to turn to the real, as though we all know what that is. For Jacques Lacan, the psychoanalysis, we don't. Now, whatever he thinks, realistic in this context essentially nods towards the public-private partnerships already in place. We won't say anything about this now, but we do ask you to think about what's assembled behind those words and phrases of to be realistic. This piece is called Cacophony. Executive realistic homes, realistic in realistic, leafy realistic suburbs, realistic loft, realistic style, realistic apartments, realistic in realistic, converted realistic cotton, realistic mills, realistic Edwardian, realistic villas, realistic stone, realistic cottages, realistic. We realistic, are realistic, also realistic, supporting realistic, living realistic, over realistic, the realistic shop. Realistic and realistic, other realistic, housing realistic, initiatives, realistic registered realistic providers, realistic formally, realistic housing, realistic associations. The authentic, historic,
Generation
authentic
Sheffield.
marketplace,
Generation
authentic
Manchester.
underbanks,
Generation
authentic is
Hull.
authentic, and
Generation
authentic,
Pan Northern.
important, authentic,
Generation
part
Pan.
authentic,
Generation
of
Bread.
authentic.
Bread, flour, yeast.
Stockport, authentic
Generation
town,
higher
authentic
sale.
centre,
Mix,
authentic that authentic,
mould,
is authentic,
shape,
rich authentic,
bread,
inauthentic, local
tin,
authentic,
food,
heritage.
Rise,
Generation
bread,
GVA, Generation
dough,
Growth.
Authentic working,
Generation
authentic
intensity.
with, authentic partners,
Generation
authentic
circle.
vibrant,
Generation
authentic hub,
virtuous.
authentic
Generation
for
innovation.
authentic, specialist
leavened,
authentic, independent
level,
authentic,
results.
retailers
Supermarket,
authentic.
preservatives,
Creative authentic
bakers,
industries
dozen,
authentic, created
dawn,
authentic stakeholders
break,
authentic.
bread,
We talk
time,
about the parallels
energy,
between
patience,
artists and
bread,
chefs.
baking,
Generation people.
effort,
The
GVA
truth of this
growth, Grimley
becomes
growth,
apparent
the growth,
in an
M60
enthralling
growth,
new show.
motorway,
Generation
attractive
businesses.
growth
To
and
prepare
growth,
the
sustainable
marinade,
growth,
thoroughly
environment
blend
growth,
the
top
ingredients.
growth, 20 growth,
Fast.
priorities
None of them
growth.
look quite as you might
breweries,
expect.
craft,
Relaxed
industries,
generation. Future generation.
sugar,
Well-being
sweet,
generation.
sour, dough,
The
latest
authentic,
bout
Manchester
in
authentic,
old
Metropolitan
feud.
authentic,
This, he
University
says,
authentic,
is
Marketplace
what has driven
authentic,
him.
studios.
makers, flat,
Authentic century,
bread,
authentic stores,
flat,
authentic vintage,
white,
authentic
white,
market, authentic
round,
refurbishment,
half and
Generation
authentic
30.
of authentic,
Generation
the
decision
authentic,
makers.
bakers
Generation
authentic,
potential.
vaults
Healthy.
authentic
Generation
and
higher in
authentic,
sale.
the authentic,
Generation
Bad.
performance.
opening authentic,
Smart
of
generation.
authentic,
Higher
the
generation.
authentic, remedy
Generation
authentic,
vision.
bar,
Generation
authentic
yard
and
sale.
authentic,
Generation
brewhouse,
committed.
authentic
Generation
microbrewery.
zones.
brioche bun,
As is often the
baguette,
case, much of his
bruschetta,
story is
wrap,
happenstance. Most of you need to be
Naan,
clear about the
chapati,
rules.
roti,
Is this in the
chip,
text, or is
naan,
this what you are
clay,
bringing to it?
Critical zone.
GVA
Critical
growth,
generation.
Grimley growth,
Engaged
completed
generation.
growth,
30
growth,
zone.
master planning
30
growth,
zone.
Tiger,
report
30
growth,
zone.
the
30
growth,
zone.
the
30
growth,
innovation.
covenant
30
growth,
ends.
garden growth,
Pizza,
urban growth,
focaccia,
village
In
growth,
conversation,
in
she
growth,
manages to be
offering
gossipy
growth,
and yet discreet.
options growth, full
Slice.
growth,
Nice
its
guys,
growth,
but
delivery.
kind of grey suits, you know.
threads, fancy,
Generation
Growth,
individual.
see growth, related
Generation
growth
identity.
documents.
Generation beautiful.
bread, basic,
If you're on autopilot,
bread,
you're not
surfaces,
critical.
Critical
daily,
generation.
bread,
Executive realistic
bread,
homes, realistic
wheat,
in realistic, leafy
staple,
realistic suburbs,
diet,
realistic loft,
feed,
realistic style,
break,
realistic apartments,
bread,
realistic in
share,
realistic, converted
crunch,
realistic, cotton
chew,
realistic mills.
dump,
She had that combination of
hair,
discretion and tact.
bread,
You'll pay me
butter,
tomorrow.
half,
Vibrant culture,
baked,
vibrant generation,
EU,
vibrant innovation,
toaster,
vibrant cultural zone,
regulations,
generation
work,
zone, competing
Edwardian,
zone,
realistic
driving
villas,
zone, growth
realistic
zone,
stone,
joined up
realistic
zone,
cottages,
vision zone,
realistic.
partners zone, generation
Loaf,
higher in sale.
dough,
There is an alchemy to
Yeast,
art. She
loaf,
instructed him to enjoy
more,
his dinner.
dough,
Authentic
leftover,
working,
crumbs,
authentic with,
under,
authentic partners,
table,
authentic vibrant,
give,
authentic hub,
give,
authentic for,
take,
authentic, specialist
take,
authentic,
give,
independent authentic,
take,
retailers
give,
authentic.
make.
But academics are
Goes
always
and
suspicious of
loaf,
the guy who
goes,
stirs the
leaf,
big black pot.
hide,
Critical zone,
GVA
critical
growth,
zone,
Grimley
ends,
growth,
critical
the
zone,
growth,
ambitions,
M60
ends,
growth,
long-term
motorway,
zone, clear
attractive
zone,
growth,
zone,
and
ambitious
growth,
zone,
sustainable
innovation
growth,
zone, critical zone,
environment
generation
growth,
zone,
give.
ends.
I
top
was more
20
likely to get
growth
the money that
priorities
way,
growth.
flour,
and you start to feel
yeast,
baffled.
water,
Efficient
bread,
and effective zone.
Authentic of authentic,
International
the
zone.
authentic,
International
bakers
example.
authentic, vaults
Internationally
authentic,
official
and authentic,
example.
the authentic
International
opening
higher and
authentic,
fries,
of authentic, the
Generation
authentic
international.
remedy
Generation
authentic
innovation.
bar.
Generation
Wait.
efficient.
The American who
Fine,
hired me
strong,
quit soon after,
refined,
citing the insanity of the
flour,
owners.
unadulterated,
The
Internationally
art world is
efficient
like a
example.
western full of cowboys, whores, and dandies.
International hire and sale.
bakers,
Authentic and
dozen,
authentic brewhouse,
door,
authentic microbrewery.
His brother, on the other hand,
Bread,
roamed
time,
his territory with his
energy,
hands on his
patience,
hips, his
bread,
significant gut
bacon,
protruding over the
effort,
enormous keyring.
waste.
Relaxed
Growth,
generation.
C
Bacon,
growth,
generation,
related
bread,
growth,
beautiful
documents
bacon,
growth,
fresh
GVA
bacon,
growth, Grimley
Modernity
growth,
generation,
completed growth, a
beautiful
growth master planning
instant
growth,
yeast,
report growth for
smart,
growth, the
innovation,
growth
action,
covenant,
6
growth garden
boxes
growth,
emblazoned with the words
urban
hot,
growth,
delicious
village
pizza have
growth, in
arrived.
growth,
I would
offering
retell
growth,
this later
options
at dinner
growth, for
parties.
growth, its
Generation
growth
zone
deliveries.
artisan, craft, bakers.
The people being
craft,
critted provide
markets,
the snacks.
Artisanal,
Connected zone
makers,
ends.
I
flat,
blushed furiously
bread,
trying to respond.
flat,
I don't know if I have a
white,
collection, I have a
white,
load of stuff.
brown,
Generation
half
in.
We
Generation
realistic,
out.
are realistic,
Zone in.
also realistic,
Zone out.
supporting
Here, she
realistic,
said,
living
give me those and
realistic,
take
over
this.
realistic, the
Intolerant.
realistic
So this
shop.
morning I
Bad,
have my checklist.
carbs, hunk,
Shell the peas and
crusty,
blanch them in
stale,
boiling water.
moldy,
Efficient and effective
bun,
zone.
Longer, more
Bossy,
theoretical
bar,
features come next.
back,
Critical zone.
brioche
International
bun,
example.
baguette,
Internationally
espresso,
efficient example.
Realistic and
International
realistic,
hire
with a
and
realistic
sale.
housing,
Until
realistic
most of the
initiative.
liquor is absorbed and the
Chip,
pieces are tender.
naan,
Joined up zone.
Play.
Vision zone.
The authentic,
Partners zone.
historic,
Oven,
authentic,
Take
marketplace,
this, sister, use it
authentic,
honourably, use it
underbanks,
well.
authentic,
Generation
is authentic,
innovation.
and
I don't
authentic,
like the look of this at
important,
all.
authentic,
Innovation,
part
mobility
authentic,
ends.
of
Salad.
There is a
authentic.
kind of
Three
poetry in
best,
impenetrable
fit,
phrases.
Mobile
Lunch.
individual
GVA
Bread.
zone.
growth, Grimley
Bread.
growth, the growth
Bread.
M60
And yet how
growth,
benign, how
motorway,
wonderfully
attractive
inexpensive,
growth and
wholesome.
growth,
Mobile
sustainable
zones,
growth,
mobile
environment
growth,
growth,
mobile
top growth,
generation,
20
mobile
growth
innovation.
priorities,
They don't
growth.
look alike.
daily, bread, wheat.
And yes, I know,
Diet.
bought sponge cakes
Feed,
are easy.
break,
The authentic Manchester,
Executive
authentic
heritage,
Metropolitan,
executive
authentic
mobility,
University,
efficient and
authentic
effective
Marketplace, authentic
Effective,
Studios,
butter,
authentic
carbs,
Century,
What's your
authentic
analogy for the
stores,
role of the
authentic
critic?
vintage,
Critical
authentic
generation,
market,
engaged
authentic
generation, 30
refurbishment,
zone, 30
authentic,
generation.
all
Entirely
authentic,
optional, of
the
course.
authentic,
Generation,
bakers
hire and
authentic,
sale.
vaults
critic is a
authentic,
detective.
and authentic, the authentic, opening
loaf.
authentic,
But if you
all
believe the
authentic,
gossip,
the authentic
Despite
remedy,
the years of
authentic
mirroring,
bar,
it is also a
Under,
terrific
table,
underdog story.
give,
Joined up
Growth,
zone. Vision
see
zone.
growth
critical
related
generation,
documents.
Underdog generation.
give, take,
One not
give,
just about food, but
make,
economic and cultural
golden
development.
loaf,
Generation
GVA growth,
generation
Grimley growth,
generation
completed
High.
growth, a growth, master
generation
planning
circle,
growth,
generation
growth for
circle,
growth.
generation virtuous,
The growth,
generation
covenant growth,
generation.
garden
She took a
growth,
bite of her
urban
sandwich and
growth,
tilted
village
her
growth,
head.
in
I thought,
growth,
what
offering
the fuck
growth,
have we been eating for
options,
19
growth
years?
for growth,
Vibrant
Fresh
heritage,
growth,
executive
flower,
heritage,
wheat,
executive
water,
mobility,
Art
executive,
accumulates
realistic
meaning
homes,
through an extended
realistic,
collaborative
unrealistic,
critical
leafy,
mobility,
realistic,
critical generation.
suburbs,
Maybe it's a
realistic
craving
loft,
for love.
realistic style, realistic
My work
apartments,
is
realistic,
completely different.
realistic,
Beautiful
converted,
identity,
realistic,
beautiful
realistic
mobility,
milk,
beautiful zones,
Refined.
realistic
small
Edwardian,
zones.
Rinse the herbs
realistic
and pick the
villas,
leaves.
realistic
Generation
stone,
30.
realistic cottages,
Criticality
realistic.
is a strategy for the production of knowledge.
Smart
We
generation,
realistic,
generation
are realistic,
performance,
also
Steam
realistic,
vegetables are
supporting
with the lid
realistic,
on.
living
executive
realistic, over
generation,
realistic, the
executive
realistic shop.
criticality,
It is pointless to
Realistic
preserve
and
the
realistic,
eternal
other
culture.
realistic,
Generation
housing
GVA,
realistic,
generation
initiative,
growth, generation
realistic
intensity,
registered,
generation
realistic
circle,
providers,
vibrant
realistic
generation,
formally,
generation.
Cream and then
housing,
reduced to the
realistic
desired
association.
intensity and consistency.
Generation
Arrange the
higher
chicory on 4
yeast,
plates, chop the almonds and
fast,
white chocolate
action,
roughly.
brewers,
Generation
The
hire and
authentic,
sale,
historic,
generation
authentic
hire and sale,
marketplace,
generation
authentic
hire and
underbanks,
sale,
authentic
generation
is
hire and
authentic,
sale,
and authentic,
Dough.
important,
Validation often
authentic,
appears
partner,
paradoxical.
authentic,
generation
authentic.
vision,
Bakers,
generation yardstick,
craft,
generation committed,
markets,
generation zone
artisanal,
ends.
makers,
Even though the food can be
flat,
quite complex,
bread,
people have short memories.
flat,
I think it's
white,
easy to
Authentic
understand.
town, authentic
Proud.
centre,
Beautiful identity.
authentic
Half
that,
and half.
authentic.
Critics stick their
Authentic,
fingers in the air to
rich,
see
authentic,
which way the wind is
authentic,
blowing.
local,
Vibrant
Authentic,
vision, vibrant
intolerant,
zone, vibrant
bad,
criticality,
authentic,
vibrant
working,
cultural
authentic.
heritage.
In
With
autumn and
authentic,
winter, celeriac is my crystal ball.
Vibrant, authentic.
Pan Northern, Generation Pan
Authentic,
Northern, Generation
authentic.
Bread.
Art
Specialist,
criticism
authentic.
is done without the benefit of
Authentic,
hindsight.
retail,
Generation
authentic.
Hire and Sale.
Creative,
I wanted to
authentic.
amplify the
Industries,
interactive involvement
Creative,
that guests
authentic.
experience.
Stakeholders,
He
authentic.
cites getting up at 7 a.m. to drive to Brighton to get seawater.
Innovation Generation.
GVA growth.
If you're not sick, don't call the doctor.
Generation Iron Sale.
These days, it's not enough for high-end galleries to merely offer white walls and a gift shop. They also need a deluxe restaurant on site.
Zone in, zone out.
It's not hip, it's not a pop-up, and yes, you can book.
Smart Generation.
Bread, wheat,
But whether it needs so much explanation is another matter.
Crit Generation. Vibrant
bread,
cultural Crit
share,
Generation.
If you're going to throw a grenade, throw a chocolate one.
don't,
Generation
Authentic,
GVA,
authentic,
Generation
the
Growth,
authentic,
Generation
baked
Intensity,
authentic,
Generation
half,
Rochester,
authentic,
Generation
and
Hall,
authentic,
Generation
the
Newcastle,
authentic,
Generation
opening
Sheffield,
authentic,
Generation
authentic,
York,
the
Generation
authentic,
Leeds.
remedy
Work
authentic, bar.
Generation Mobile,
honest,
Generation
trust,
Growth, Generation
learn,
Innovation.
use,
All customers had to do was
Authentic,
point at these
authentic,
giant
authentic,
drawings and
authentic,
we'd get to
micro,
work. The
more,
chef riffs on
dough,
recipes like a jazz
leftover,
musician.
crumbs,
Relaxed
GVA
Generation.
growth,
Fun
taste,
Generation.
completed
Smart
growth,
Generation.
growth,
Remove the
planning
flesh
growth,
from the
support
avocados
growth
and
for
cut
growth.
into chunks.
The growth,
Efficient and
Covent
effective
Garden growth,
Generation.
Mix the wasabi
Main
paste
growth,
with 1
village growth,
tablespoon
golden
of water.
loaf,
Generation Zone
options
N.
growth,
Thickly slice the roast
Hide,
beetroot while still
watch,
warm.
Mobile
under,
Zone,
neath,
Individual Zone, Mobile
growth,
Individual
C
Zone.
growth related
While no
Take,
stranger to the
take,
long ingredients
eat,
list, she's no
take,
obscurantist.
give,
Today eggs,
make,
tomorrow the world.
bread,
Vibrant cultural
yeast,
innovation.
I have
flour,
been very lucky
water,
to have successfully
bread,
created a
mix,
career out of my
mold,
lifestyle.
shape,
Beautiful
Executive,
Generation. Generation
realistic,
Identity.
home,
Generation
realistic,
Small.
realistic,
Generation
bread,
beautifully
Beautiful.
realistic.
Style-wise,
Suburbs
it's
realistic,
minimalist and not
loft realistic,
decorative, a
style
library
realistic,
meets spa kind of
apartments
vibe.
realistic,
Mobile
unrealistic,
generation,
converted
mobile
realistic,
innovation.
cotton
I love
realistic,
beautiful
mills.
images, so I take a little time each day to create one and share it on social media.
Critical Generation.
Realistic,
Engaged
Edwardian,
Generation.
realistic villas.
It is a
realistic
formidable
stone,
piece of
realistic
visual
cottages,
theatre,
realistic.
macabre,
High,
and yet comic.
energy,
Innovation.
Hey,
Mobility,
realistic
and
are realistic.
Then there
Also
are the
realistic,
preserved
supported
anchovies.
realistic,
Wait.
living
Scatter
realistic,
the walnuts and
realistic,
serve.
realistic
Bread.
shop.
Therefore, we will or will not hire
Realistic
generation,
and
develop
realistic,
generation,
realistic,
enhance
housing
generation,
realistic,
sell
initiative.
generation, sell zone, growth zone, GVA growth zone, generation growth ends, generation ends, growth zone ends.